Hey there everyone, this is Gwen, and what I'm doing here is giving you a short presentation of where we are at with the CCC Constitution and Bylaws revisions. So this is a little update and hopefully not a long presentation for you to bring you up to speed. So there are two key pressure points that we were trying to resolve with this Constitution update and the change to the constitutional model that we are working with as an organization. The first of these is that we were having real serious problems with nominating over 120 positions in rotating cycles of 40 to 60 people each year. This includes recruiting for the moderator position, because the moderator position itself was just a very large position for any one person to do. The second is the programming alignment for the next decade of ministry opportunities. So we were trying to have a situation that's a little more agile and flexible to be able to meet some of our local and global challenges that we were interested in that didn't quite fit into any of our previous governance model. So just a few details about that. What we did since 2017 is that we suspended or what we did in 2017 was we suspended our boards and the nominating process. This was specific constitutional sections that we did. Everything else in the Constitution and bylaws was still in play. But what I've outlined here is the boards that we suspended and the number of positions we needed to recruit for, and that's how we got to over 120 positions. Most of these positions remained every year for the last few years. Several of the positions within each board remain unfilled. And so that put a real burden on particular groups, ministries, and activities. So where do we go is in January 2019, we have to report on the new governance model. There are three options that we will have in 2019. The first one is to roll back and reinstate our suspended boards and processes. Of course, the implications of that is that it would take us a good 6 months to get that all in place, but we would probably be obligated to get it in place by the annual meeting of 2019, which occurs in the first weekend of June. The second is to move forward, affirm our governance model as far as we can go, and still work out a few of the kinks. The third option is we keep working at it. We report on the update, but we make no official move on any changes to the model for another defined period, say another 1 to 2 years. So this is just to remind you what the current model looks like. We have 4 engagement areas listed there, and yes, we're updating mission and outreach to justice and witness. Judy is working on updated slides that I will make available hopefully by the retreat, by the time we get that together. And just to let you know that the internal ring is the coordinating council, and the external ring, administration, property, and finance. The suggestion is to name those areas like giving and congregational assets as resource areas, because they basically are resources for all the engagement areas. And so they support and surround every one of our ministry opportunities and programming opportunities. This is a diagram that some of you who are new to the governance model may want to take a little closer look at. But what we have is the immediate inner circle is the paid staff of the church. And they are connected to engagement areas and then supporting different kinds of positions. And then the very outer ring are secondary leadership positions that are important for us, but not necessarily needing to be at a council meeting every time. So, for example, the auditor of the church currently is Tom Doggett. He reports to the moderator, works with the treasurer to go over the books, but then reports to the moderator and establishes time on an agenda in order to report back what he has found and how we keep ourselves to be the best organization we can fiscally. So the status of the current model right now, here's the good news. The engagement areas are working, and we've had some refinements, especially in the budget process. And that has been captured in our last annual report. People and members can serve on multiple areas and activities. So rather than someone being part of, say, stewardship for 3 years, they can be part of a stewardship campaign, and they also can work on a social justice activity. So this has been very helpful because people can move around and be a part of a number of activities and programming without having to be at a board or on a board for 3 years. Programming, budgets, and fundraising are taken together in the council conversations. And I recognize of late we've had a lot of what is typical trustee because we faced a number of crises. But the benefit that we have is that we understand, for instance, like not having the social hall, what it means, and we can make a decision to open up the meeting room for coffee hour. And that's an example of where we can have the impact of those decisions happening to support programming as we discover them within our fiscal limitations or challenges that we have. As I mentioned before, we're moving to the idea that we have engagement areas and resource areas. The council coordinators at this point, it's recommended that we serve 2 terms and 2-year terms, and then it rotates off the council. The moderator is now considered a team with discrete roles of leadership. So the moderator is the liaison to the staff, working with the senior minister, establishes the monthly agenda for the council, meeting is the volunteer spokesperson for CC, and facilitates all congregational meetings. The moderator-elect handles the broad communications, and the past moderator really takes on the nominating role of recruiting for the council and, when possible, for other programming needs. The past moderator also serves as the parliamentarian to the moderator for any congregational meetings. The official minutes of the council reflect the fiduciary and programming decisions, and it helps with archiving and audits. And so we're grateful that now we have the clerk basically in charge of the institutional memory. What has yet to be determined? There's still unresolved issues in the model at this point. The first of these is recruiting for programming and leadership positions is especially challenging. We have not been able to fill those needs. We have weekly and monthly needs, for instance, the AV team, the security team, coffee hour. We have ad hoc events that need better coordination and not better coordination, but better support in their delivery of that activity. So picnic, Advent. Right now we need someone for the gratitude breakfast in the fall. Programming needs and requests, we still haven't quite figured out how to get new ideas into the system. We're still maintaining a lot of the other ideas, and one of these is what to do with visitors and new members, although we're grateful that Kristen Sundell is really going to focus on this as part of a task force going forward. A lot of people are interested in outreach. How can we improve our work with the community and perhaps globally? And right now that isn't quite fitting in somewhere in the model, in that deliberate kind of work. Adult education, especially those with kids. We have lots of continued requests for this and varying degrees of success or not really sustained success in this area. What we have yet to understand in the model is where the retreat house will fit going forward and the office of the shepherds. If we go forward with that idea, it's still on the burner and Matt is working with it. And we also have new pressures to support in an ongoing way. We have a lot of technology that we're working with now and certainly security for the building. So what happens next? You'll see the documents, and we really need you to look at those with a way of how we operate now and will best support us for the future. The documents will go out to the critical stakeholders to review and comment. And then, as I mentioned before, there are two town halls and then our congregational meeting on January 29th, 2019. Can't emphasize enough that your support and feedback are greatly appreciated and helping us get the model as far as we can. So thank you very much for listening, and again, I appreciate any feedback that you have and look for the documents in the future.